Hello everybody and welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney versus the Samurai Gunman.
Who is the judge, obviously.
Yes. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago. If you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright. It seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Minkins. I knocked him out. Managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you.
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Large quantities of blood traces were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be?
Officer Minkins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor.
He must have bled like a fucking pig.
Yeah, I know, I was gonna say. Looked like too much blood for that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You're on the assumption that he's a bleeder. I don't think he bled that much. I think
even if he's a bleeder, he'd be dead.
Yeah.
You do know that bleeders die from that. It's not like a fun thing.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that's a fair point. I don't know. Maybe Officer Minkins like Marshall's confession. He's an alien. Hold it! When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? SL9 incident.
2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transfer that day. You know, like how there are more cases happen every time a case is about to close?
Yeah, I know. Oh, not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only the detective who was in charge of it can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself, one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. So Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? Oh, I already know.
His brother got murdered.
Yep. That day was my last chance. That's why I... Hold it! Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence which wouldn't get me anywhere.
So you did it to fool the security camera.
And the detective's ID card? I stole it that morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report.
I just wonder why he started filling it out and just go, oh, whatever, I'll do it later.
I don't know. Maybe he got stabbed while he was filling it out.
But you assume that would kind of be noticed?
Yeah, you'd think so. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall.
So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight.
What do you mean, partner?
I mean, the fingerprint activation lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprint. Normally that locker shouldn't have opened.
So it opened because a rubber glove was stuck in the door by chance? Then Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
That would imply that he's 777.
Yeah.
He's a
Hold
wizard!
it! Yeah. You pulled
No, wait,
a
that
knife.
doesn't make sense, my bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But that's still confusing me a bit, but whatever. You pulled a knife on Officer Minkins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned to be in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Minkins. He certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I have to think a little more about his ways this year. What? He saved everyone.
Yeah, I know. He did, and also, I have to say, why wouldn't he? Like, you know, why, like, because this guy was disguised as a detective, so you'd actually assume, like, even if he didn't know Goodman, he might have seen, like, someone wearing that kind of outfit around. You know, he was, and he even had his baton out, so though he was being kind of, you know, he obviously was ready in case the guy was an intruder, so... I don't know, like, yeah, this one I have to agree. I don't know why everyone's hating on Officer Minkins.
Well, I think they said that he mistook a detective for an intruder.
Yeah. Oh. Well.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, but he just was being cautious always. And he was doing his job. He was defending the Blue Badger.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
I don't know, when the offense attorneys became God.
Anyway, he threw himself at me and ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. Me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? That's apparently the knife he had. Just shaving with. I don't know what to say. So what happened next? Hold it! So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left.
However, you bloody get killed in the struggle with Officer Minkins.
Someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there.
Admittedly, logically seen, if anyone had been in the security room while that was happening, they would have seen it on the camera anyway.
Yeah, seriously. What was Officer Minkins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day... Hold it! But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner.
Of that logic. You stole that evidence from the locker.
Actually, no, I didn't.
Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence?
Oh, I ate it. The cereal, breakfast. I would read the line, I can't, but so I'm just making shit up. It's still missing, Your Honor.
My screen's just about bitch today. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. That explains the glove. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer, this is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. Let's see. I do know why, but let's not press. Hold it! But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room.
Joe Doug was convicted of those crimes. One thing I can say for sure, he deserved his sentence.
I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, did you? I remember the Joe Dark case, but I don't remember what it involved.
It involved a person eating cereal very slowly.
Yep. I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. There's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Sounds kind of like us. You don't know what the fuck is going on either.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. Had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in that case. Some way. Yeah, some way. I'd better take another look at the files. Okay, here it is. Present.
This is like the 5th page of evidence.
I know, seriously, we got so much. Take that. Oh, objection! Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file right here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall?
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prospect award you got. Oh, prosecutor. Whatever. It's the same
He's
thing.
a prospector.
It's the same thing, right? What? A prosecutor? Must be talked about the King of Prosecutors Award.
Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SA9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? Well, Judge, it's not
he was
obvious.
his lover, obviously.
Yeah. He was my brother. Whoa.
Looks like a handsome motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. Is so dramatic. He took his hat off. Look at this shit. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gott, chief detective at the time. And that's the guy there.
Yep.
And so we complete our Desperados team, even though half of them are dead.
Actually, yeah, half of them are dead. I guess that's how Desperados works.
Yeah, I guess so. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Look how desperate they were to prosecute the
The
killer.
woman, she's like playing Pac-Man or something.
Yeah, I know. She's just like, yeah, whatever. And everyone else is like, there, and, well, this guy's like, there, and
What are you actually fighting at? I don't know. This is a good place to eat food.
Yeah.
Man, that guy looks badass.
Yeah, he looks pretty badass. He also looks pretty evil.
He looks like he might be Satan.
Yeah. Take it from Phoenix Wright, everybody. Serial killers are Satan.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah. Joe Doc. My brother fought Doc and was killed. That was the first time Doc left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Doc. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions?
There's much more to my brother's death than the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me.
Okay, that one guy might have something to do with it. It's Gant.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think...
Maybe that's why he came here, because he wants you to find these people. So that he has an official reason to get rid of them too.
Has an official...
Because he just found out about Marshall. Because Marshall and the other guy might still end up finding him out otherwise.
Right, I see what you're saying, but now, like, yeah, they were doing illegal things too, so if we didn't find the thread and, we just locked them away for their crimes of, then bam, he doesn't have anyone more to
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do, but you see?
Yeah, I see.
Because otherwise you wouldn't have figured them out.
Right. But this is all very clever, and we're going to punch...
Unless the game is just like, no, aliens.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's actually really clever. I'm liking this case. But like everyone, Mr. Gaunt has shot himself in the foot.
They just like doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always that, yeah. It's always a thing where it's like, yeah, they usually shoot themselves in the foot, but it's always arguable because you don't know what would have happened if they didn't, but we know that they gave us a thread to go on. They, by trying to get rid of loose threads, they created more threads.
Yep.
Ones that we are going to pull. Yes. Very hard. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last day the SN9 could have been opened.
Now...
Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Minkins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never ceased to amaze me. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department.
Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lanasky.
Objection! But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Objection. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today.
But...
There is only one reason for the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department.
It seems to me the boys got the draw on you, partner.
All the mysteries at the police department have been uncovered, no contradictions. Remain, the murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. There was no errors in the testimony of the witness, English Star. Yes, there were. If you have a response, make it one word or less.
Arg.
The best word.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
Seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time. Disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Hold it! Oh, sorry.
It's a bitch. Your Honor, wait.
Emma!
See, we should have just called her up earlier. Defense has an objection, a scientific objection.
For science!
Right?
What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I give you 3. What a nice guy! Not like one karma with like 5 minutes, bitch.
Yeah.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SA9 incident referred to the Joe Dahl killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, it'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. Man, you got legs.
Yeah, I know. So, did you find anything useful?
No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Thanks, bitch!
Is that all?
Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
But Mr. White, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. White, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. White, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. Don't worry, I'm used to it. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be.
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now.
La 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 la.
Do the la la la.
Yes, we need that thing.
Yes, we need Crebo to
We need
take
our
its
big
bus.
balls.
Yep. What could be wrong with the handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing?
There's no
Objection! This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. White.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. All this evidence here. There's got to be something I can use. Question is, which item can prove there's something missing on the floor plan?
The vase?
Oh yeah, you're right. The vase wasn't there. I was trying to think, and I was like, well, the blue badger wasn't there. Clearly he solves this entire crime.
I assume a vase. I don't know why, but just assume it.
Alright. It was found at the crime scene, and I mean, it has this really unexplained thing about it, so I think you're right.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Lucky boy.
Take that! As they say back west, even a blind man can hit with buckshot. That is, as long as he's facing the general direction.
It seems Mr. White is not sure which direction to face.
It's no use. The more evidence there is, the more wrong choices.
Just calm down, Mr. White. Try and remember what the evidence room was like on the day of the crime.
What is it that bothers me about the blood marks? Please allow me another chance, Your Honor. I'll prove it this time. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time.
The blue badger might actually be correct in that case.
Yeah, it probably is. I don't know why it's relevant, though. I'm trying to... Because, obviously, Phoenix Wright has the idea in his mind. I just don't know how the blue badger is relevant. The only other thing I can think of is the glove, but, It's related to the fingerprint, so...
It's related to the ones that didn't have fingerprints.
Oh, actually... SL9, extremely thin rubber glove. Maybe it would be the glove.
But
But it is something on the floor plan. I don't know if the glove would be on, like, you know... Well, let's try the blue badger. It's not, at least it's not penalizing us, so... Clearly they know that this one's kind of a hard one.
Oh, yes.
Take that! What about that piece of plywood? Yep, which is the blue badger. The blue badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Man, he sounds awesome.
Yes.
Explain yourself, Mr. White.
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here. So watch what happens when I put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime.
Okay, right, yeah, but I wasn't sure where he was standing, because he could have been standing closer to the fucking camera.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, that's why I wasn't sure, because that kind of looks,
That's what it looks like, I know. It looks like he could go behind this thing.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, what? That's right. So long as the blue badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. In fact, there's kind of an issue with that in the statement itself, because the guy walked behind the blue badger, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he did. But I don't know, logic, it doesn't need logic.
What? Yeah. Oh, whatever. It works. It's fine. So that means, just exactly what doesn't that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, I teleported. Think it through scientifically.
Emma.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? She's a killer. After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean his blood mark.
So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. Balderdash!
What is this dash in it?
Yep. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Minkins cut his hand, which is a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Objection. That's ridiculous. I refute you.
Objection! The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker.
Objection. So then I can do this better than you. Assuming this murder of your purport really happened. When did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves it occurred.
When did the first incident occur?
It's a table smashing incident.
Yes. To surmise the defense claims that prior to Officer Minkins being cut by Jake Marshall as disguised as a detective, Goodman, another incident took place in the evidence room. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur? Proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place?
4 p.m. Wait, look at the other one. Yeah, look at that again. Yeah, I say the other one, the 4 p.m. one.
His thing?
Yeah.
Well, it gives a general estimation, but that doesn't really
prove
anything, does it?
Hey, what else do you want to show?
I was actually kind of thinking the ID card record, the 420. I mean, you know, why else would that be there?
But what does it prove? I mean, he isn't even in the fucking thing at that time.
That is true, but I mean, I assume he could walk in with someone else, but that is very true. It doesn't show him entering at that time. I don't know. I think this one I want to save before we actually.
Yeah, do the 421. We got stuff to use. Yeah. Do this.
Take that. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the perpetrator would have to enter the room in order to do so. An ID card is required.
Yeah, the reason that is correct is because the other guy didn't have an ID card.
Right. An ID card. Oh, the ID card record. Oh, yeah, you're right. And
so he had to enter with someone else.
Right. Officer Minkins brought the Blue Badger panel to the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never figured you had the nerve, boy.
Put out the egg, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. The thing is, wouldn't at least someone have fucking noticed the blood if the other guy got, like, maybe they still explain that, but...
Yeah. You'd think that, Marshall would have, like, stopped what he was doing and been like, oh snap, there's fucking blood in here. You know, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they say there's a lot of blood on the floor and whatnot.
Right. It was a reasonable pool of blood from what I could tell, so, yeah. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the Luminite tests that blood was there. Moreover, when the second crime took place, both Officer Menkins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the room. Let's look at this chart again.
I like how he actually thought Mary's Edward. Like, Phoenix did not object to that at all.
Yeah, I know. There's only one other card number remaining. That one.
They're only 20 minutes into all that.
Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Officer Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777. Yeah, that thing. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose number ID number is 777777777.
That's only 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present.
What? Explain yourself, son.
The ID number 77777 belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer.
Oh, really?
We don't have the authority to inquire into such personal identity.
Objection! But that's ridiculous! Just how...
I'm not finished talking, Mr. White. There's one situation in which we can guarantee such authority.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
Objection! I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question.
Yes.
No, not to you, to her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana?
Objection! Don't be stupid. She has been charged with murder. Of course we have looked up her ID number, and it's not 77777.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him
fine, Miles Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution of the trial. And at the time we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Yet Lana, I became prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying? I don't know, considering that the defense seems to be the only ones powerless against the law.
Maybe that's why they changed it.
Maybe so. Maybe they single-handedly
The offense
changed
was
it.
bitching too much.
Oh, yeah.
So, do we want to end the pod?
Oh, yeah, I suppose we should. It's another long part. Whoops. Oh, well, things are getting dramatic. I'm really liking this case.
Yep.
But thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.
Take it.